All right, so again, welcome. We're going to do Lab 13 sheet metal. We go on to Brightspace. We go down. We're going to skip Lab 12. Lab 12 is optional. We're going to go Lab 13 here. And you can see there is a video for how to make the part, the light swivel sheet metal part. And then there's a second video on how to do the drawing title block. And then there is a PDF that shows you an example of what we're going to make here. Notice that it says dimensions are in inches. So we're going to go to SolidWorks. If you haven't yet, create a new part file. And then down here in the bottom right corner, make sure MMGS says IPS, inches, pounds, and seconds. And to do sheet metal, we actually have to turn on a sheet metal toolbar. So in the empty space of your SolidWorks toolbar here in the gray area, right-click your mouse. You have all these different toolbars that we can turn on. And we want to turn on the one that says sheet metal. Alphabetical order, sheet metal. When you turn that on, it probably appears over here on the left. Okay, again, right-click and turn on sheet metal. Okay, so to start this, what we want to do is click on this first icon that says base flange/tab. It says it creates a sheet metal part or adds material to an existing sheet metal part. We're going to click on that. We're going to look at our PDF, and we're going to draw this front part here on the front plane. So highlight over the front plane and click on it, and it should rotate around so we have our red origin arrows. All right, so we want to draw a rectangle, and let's actually draw a circle on the origin. This is going to be our origin right there in the center of the circle. Diameter of 0.25. So let's go up. We're on the Sketch tab. Click on Circle.
Professor, how do I get the sheet metal toolbar?
All right, so then click on the Circle tool. Click on the origin. We don't know about the size right now. We're going to Smart Dimension. So we're going to turn Smart Dimension on. Click on the circle. And click on the edge of the circle. Drag it out and type in 0.25 and enter. Okay, so now we have a circle with a diameter of 0.25. All right, so that's this circle right here. We're going to draw a rectangle around it. So let's go up to our little drop down here next to the rectangle tool. Let's do the corner rectangle. And then just click and drag on your screen and kind of make this shape. So we want to surround the circle, but we want it to be lower on or longer below the circle. Okay. All right, so we have a dimension here of 0.375 and another dimension for the entire width, which is 0.75. So let's turn on Smart Dimension. Click on the edge of the circle. Click on the right side of the rectangle. Move it up and place it down. And it's 0.375. Now, when you do this, 0.375 is going to round up to 0.38. But if you look over here on the left, it actually is still 0.375. It's just rounding the dimension, the visual part. Over here on the left where it says unit precision 0.12 document, we can click on that and actually change it to 0.123, and then you can see all three decimal places. Okay, you don't really have to do that, but it's nice to see, okay, yeah, it actually is 0.375. It's not actually 0.38. All right, then click on the top line. Zoom out so you can put this one above the short dimension. Longer dimensions always go out past the shorter dimensions. Click to place it down and type in 0.75 and enter. All right, from the center of the circle to the top of the rectangle, it's 0.35. And from the center of the circle to the bottom, it's 1.35. So I still have my smart dimension turned on. I'm going to click on the top line, click on the circle, drag it out to the side, put it down, 0.35 and enter. And then click on the circle, the edge of the circle, click on the bottom, make that 1.35. And it doesn't matter if your dimensions are sideways or horizontal. All right, so make sure you have all 5 dimensions. All right, next we want to locate the center points for these 2 circles that we're going to make a slot out here, a rounded curved slot. So we're going to draw 2 center lines or construction lines from the center of this circle down. And then we'll put some dimensions, 0.99 with an angle of 14.48 and do some other stuff. So click the little drop down arrow next to the line tool and click on center line. Click on the center of the circle here, the origin, click, drag it down. We don't really know the length or angle. I'm just going to click like that, hit escape. Then we need a second one. Go back up to center line. Click on the origin again and click down here. I'm going to line them up. And then again, hit escape. All right, now we need to throw some dimensions on. Let's click on Smart Dimension. Let's click on this right slanted center line we made. When you bring your dimension, make sure your dimension is parallel. See how mine, that's not parallel, that's vertical, straight up and down. We want to keep it parallel. Okay, we want to keep it parallel so it lines up with this construction line, and it was 0.99 and enter. And we do that because that's how it is on the drawing on the PDF. It's parallel. All right, I'm going to hit escape to get out of Smart Dimensions, or you can just turn it off. I'm going to click on the first blue line that we just made. I'm going to hold down the Control key on the keyboard, hold down Control, and then click on the second center line to select it. So you want to make sure they're both selected. They're both light blue. You can see they're right here, line 5, line 6 on mine. We want to make them equal. So now they're both 0.99. Next, click off of it to deselect everything. Now we're going to click on one of the endpoints. So click on the very endpoint. Hold the Control key down on your keyboard again, like we did just a little bit ago. So I'm holding down Control and click on this other endpoint on the other side. So now I got both of the endpoints selected. It says 0.8, 0.9. It shouldn't say line. If it says line, you clicked on the line by mistake. It should say point, point. We're going to make those horizontal relationship and make sure that they're exactly lined up with one another horizontally. And this is their equal lengths. Okay, you can click off of that to deselect. You need to turn on Smart Dimensions and do the angle here. So turn on Smart Dimensions. Click on the 2 center lines. Click, click. I like to drag it down below and type in 14 point, I think, yeah, 48. 14.48, check mark. So that should look like that. All right, so that gave us our location for the 2 circles that we're going to use to draw this little curved slot here. Notice it's a diameter of 0.25 for both of them. So circle tool. First, just click on this endpoint here and draw out 2 circles. Turn on Smart Dimensions. Click on the edge of the circle. Click to place down the dimension, 0.25 and enter. Do the same on the other side. Click on the circle, put it down, 0.25, enter. Now, if you notice, if we zoom in here, it's actually a curved line going between the two, not a straight line. It's actually curved. So to do that, what we do is grab the circle tool, click on the origin, because that's where the centers of these locate. And then you want to drag this circle so it snaps tangent to the top of this circle here. You can know it's tangent because I get that little yellow tangent symbol. It's like a circle with a line through it, or a line above it. You click there, and it makes it tangent. And we do a second one. Click on the origin again. And now this time you click on the bottom of the circle. Make sure you're clicking on the circle here so it touches and it's tangent. Okay, then we need to trim off the extra stuff. So we go up top, click on Trim Entities. We have a couple of different trim options. I like to do the 5th one, the one on the bottom. It says Trim the Closest. So click on Trim the Closest option. And then trim, zoom in here, the lines, the curved lines on the left, and the curved lines on the right. And we could also trim out these really big ones here. You gotta be careful when you're in here. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in. Start trimming these circles, but when you do, it starts getting all yellow and has a problem. What you need to do is you have lines in here that you need to trim. In here in the center, there's these little lines. You wanna click and trim those off too. Okay, then I can hit the check mark to finish the trim command. If you have a curved line like this isn't your lines that you need to trim. It's your dimension. Your dimension is actually creating those little curves. Okay, so don't get fooled by that. Again, you might need to trim in there. All right, so that is it for the sketch on the front view. So what we're going to do is go up top and click on Exit Sketch. And when we do that, it takes us into that base flange icon, the thing that we clicked on here first. If not, make sure you click on that first icon, base flange. And we need a thickness here. So a T1. And the thickness is right here, 0.125. So let's type in 0.125 and hit enter. And we'll update. And then we can hit the OK green check mark to accept. It's very important. You want to make sure it says base flange here. So that will bring the sheet metal properties in. What you don't want to do is you do not want to do an extruded base cut. That's not going to work. It has to be this base flange / tab. Okay, that way all these other tools turn on. All right, next we want to bring out the bends. Click on the 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see here. The edge flange, 4th icon down, where it says edge flange, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you're going to do is click on the corner closest to me, facing the screen. Click on that corner and drag it out a distance. We don't really know or care the distance right now, but just drag it out some length and click, place it down. And click on the bottom front corner. And it will automatically come out the same length you made the top. Okay, so So that was clicking on there and there. Don't hit OK yet. There's more we got to do. On here it says, let's see if it says it somewhere. What we want to do is click down here where it says flange position. You got 5 different options. We want to click on the third one. If you hover over it, it says bend outside. So we can actually change or select where the bend happens. We could have it bend below, so like the top bend is there. We could have it so that the bottom of this part is the top. We have it so it starts bending at that spot and all sorts of stuff. So make sure we have that third flange position. Now, if you accidentally hit OK, to get back into it, all you gotta do is click on Edge Flange, click on Edit Feature. You can just go back and fix it and click on that third option there, Bend Outside. I'm gonna hit Control-7 to go back to my isometric view. All right, hit the OK check mark to accept that. So there you go. So you start out with just a rectangular flange, and then we're going to modify that to match the rounded part that we want. Okay, so to modify this edge flange, over here on the left in your Feature Manager design tree, that's what this tab is, find Edge Flange. And click on a little drop-down arrow next to it, next to Edge Flange. You should have the sketch 10. If it's a different number, that doesn't matter. Like if you had to fix something and you have a higher number, that doesn't matter, but make sure it's the top one. Find sketch 10. Click on that and go to the Edit Sketch icon that pops up. And notice that if you click on the text, you can change the name. You gotta make sure you click on that little icon there. You click on the icon, these little icons pop up, but we want to edit that sketch 10. Okay, so notice that the bottom one disappeared, and now I have this one here. What I want to do is I'm going to select this line and hit the delete key on my keyboard. I'm actually going to select these 3 lines and delete them, but keep this line. We want to keep that line there, but select and delete out the other 3 lines. Okay, just to show you again, you could actually just draw a window like this, delete. All right, since this is drawn kind of looking down on it, let's go to our top view so we can look down on this. So go up to the view orientation cube, click on the top view. And of course, my neighbor's cutting his grass. Go figure out of all the days while I'm trying to record this video and show you guys. It's cutting the grass. Perfect. Hopefully you can't hear it.
It's a nice day outside.
It is, finally. All right, so top view. It's also Control-5. What we want to do is draw 2 circles out here past this edge. So over here on the left, click on the circle tool. Click down here, kind of past this edge. So down in this area, I'm going to click and draw 1 circle, click and draw a 2nd circle. All right, then click on the line tool. Click on this endpoint right here. And then you want to drag this out, and you want to try and get 2 relationships to show up. We want to get it so that it both touches, which is the concentric or coincident, and the tangent. So I got 2 little yellow relationships, which then once you click, it turns green. I'm going to hit escape. Now, if you don't have the tangent, you can just hit escape, hold down the control key, and click on the circle and the line, and just add it in, tangent. You just want to make sure that they touch. That's the coincident. All right, we're going to draw a line on the other side. Click on the line tool. Click on the other endpoint. Click. Drag it down, get the same two relationships, tangent and coincident. I got both of them. I'm going to click. I don't need my line tool, so hit escape. And if for some reason the tangent didn't work, hold down the control key, click on the line, click on the big circle, and just add it manually, tangent. And click off of it. All right, we want to trim out the big circle here. So click on the Trim Entities button or icon. Again, I have trim the closest, and I'm going to click on that big circle right there. All right, next, turn on Smart Dimensions. And let's see here, let's do the small circle here first. So if you look, you got to look at the arrows because it's kind of small. The diameter is 0.19. So let's click on the circle, drag it out, and the diameter is 0.19 and enter. And the radius is 0.20. So click on the arc, put down the radius of 0.2. We don't need the 0. It knows it's a 0. All right, we need to go down from that line down to the center, 1.9. Click on the line here, click on the center, drag it out to the left, 1.9, enter. I'm going to zoom out and zoom back in so you can see it all. All right, I'm going to click off of everything. I still have Smart Dimension. I'm going to click on my origin here, that little point. I'm going to click on the center of the circle here, drag it down so you get this horizontal dimension. Click to place it down on the screen, and 0.62, enter. So it's 0.62. All right, make sure you have all 4 dimensions in the same location, going to the same things. All right, so that's it for that sketch. Notice that everything is black, it's fully defined. And we can click on the exit sketch mode up in the top left corner, exit sketch. And what it does is it updates the flange to our new sketch that we made. All right, now there's an easy way to edit the bottom one. So over here on the left, find sketch 11. Click on the edit sketch icon. Delete those 3 lines like we did last time. Just select them and hit delete. Make sure you still have that line there. We need that one because that's what attaches it to our flange here, our base flange. Now we have a pretty neat tool up here called Convert Entities. Okay, so up top on the Sketch tab, click on Convert Entities and click on these 2 lines and the 2 circles, particularly the arc in the circle. So make sure you have all 4 things selected, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you hit the OK check mark, it converts them from that sketch to your sketch, or to the current sketch. So we can convert things from one sketch to another. Okay, again, that was up top here, Convert Entities. I clicked on the 4 things, line, line, circle, arc, and I hit OK. And that's it. Exit sketch. Okay, before we go too much farther, let's save it in case something happens. Go to File and Save As. And I'm going to put this in my SolidWorks folder. We're going to call it Lab 13. Make a new folder, Lab 13, and we're going to call this one Sheet Metal. It's also called light swivel. Doesn't really matter. Save. Now, one of the cool things about sheet metal is you have this little blue bar. Make sure this blue bar on the left is below where it says flat pattern. We want to make sure it's below that. Sometimes they're not. And then over here on our sheet metal toolbar at the very bottom, we have a thing called flatten. Click on flatten. You can actually see what it will look like flatten. Go to my front view here. So here's our model, because what you do is you would trace this pattern on sheet metal, okay, and then you would use tools, equipment to bend the sheet metal into the position you want it, and then drill out the holes. You'd actually drill out the holes first, then bend it, but okay, so you could use this to trace the pattern, but then you can turn that flatten off. You can turn it off here in the top right corner, or you can turn it off on the icon. Just turn the icon off and it'll collapse it again. Okay, of course, if this little blue bar, I'm going to drag this up above the flattened pattern, it won't work. You can't get it. So if it's grayed out, it's because this bar, you need to click on it and drag it down below. And you can toggle that on and off. So pretty cool. All right, so make sure it's flat pattern is turned off, so it's bent like mine. I'm going to save it again just to kind of make sure everything's saved. All right, we're going to put in a title block. Go up to File and New. Click on the drawing, and OK, or double click on it. We want the HACC landscape default title block. Hit OK. And we have a part open, so it comes in, shows up automatically. So I'm going to double click on it. And we're going to bring in the front view. We're going to put the front view roughly about this location. Click. And then we also want the isometric view. I'm going to go up to the angle here where it's isometric and click. And that's it. This view here is actually going to be a section view. It says section AA. So that's going to be a little bit different with this section lines we made here. All right, hit escape to get out of your projecting views. I'm going to click and drag this guy over here in the corner. And with this isometric one selected, I'm going to turn on shaded with edges. And I'm going to click off of everything. And then mine doesn't quite look right. We need to turn on tangent edges. So I'm going to hover over my front view here. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go down to tangent edges or tangent edge and turn on tangent edges visible. It just shows me where the bend lines are. Okay, so let's right click, tangent edge, make them visible, tangent edges visible. All right, to do the section view, you want to go up top to your View Layout tab. Click on Section View icon. We have 4 options. We can do vertical, horizontal, auxiliary, and aligned. We want the second one here, horizontal. So click on that. We want to have it, we're going to cut right through the center of our circle. So click on the center of the circle. And we could curve it, we could offset it, we could do all sorts of stuff. We don't want to do any of that. Just hit the green check mark. And by default, it's actually the opposite way we want it. It's backwards, which is not a big deal. Over here on the left, we have a big button that says flip direction. Click on the flip direction button, and it flips the arrows so they point down, which gives us our view that looks kind of like this. So it points down. And click on the screen to place it. Okay, and we can actually delete out some of this title block so we have room. Let's do that now, actually. Okay, I'll do the section view again because people have trouble with the section view. If you have it, you can just kind of hold on. Went to the View Layout tab, click on Section View, click on the one pointing down, horizontal. You want to snap it right to the center of the circle, and that's important. We're not going to do any customizing to it, so we're going to hit the green check mark. And we want to hit the flip direction button over here on the left to flip it pointing down. Now, the more times you do this, the first time it was AA, now it's BB, and it will go CC, DD, but you can actually customize it and make it say A anyway. And then I'll never know it took you 2 or 3 tries to get it. All right, this title block, we don't really need all this stuff, and it's taking up a lot of space. So let's right click down here on the title block and edit the sheet format. While we're at it, let's double click on the drawing number. And let's make that 10 point so it fits in there nice. Click off of it. Let's do our name while we're at it. Let's double click and type in your name and make it 12 points. And click off of it. And then what we can do is I'm going to click here with my mouse. So click and drag a window selection across all this stuff. So I'm going to highlight all this blue stuff down here and then just hit the delete key. And if you have extra stuff in here you need to delete, like a lot of times what happens is if you're trying to do that, a lot of times what happens is you miss this stuff on the bottom. You can just click on it, delete, click delete. Just delete it manually. We should make this look good over here. Click on this line, grab a little dot, and just drag it down. Okay, make it look nice. Run to my name. Oh, I undid it too many times. All right, once you have all that stuff deleted, name, made this smaller so it fits nicer, exit the sheet format. All right, we want to bring in the couple things, but we want to bring in this flat view. So you want to go to the View Layout tab, bring in a model view, find your part, double click on it or browse for it. And down here where it says more views, we have an option that says A, flat pattern. Check that box and turn it on. And when you do that, you can place that right there. For some reason, I'm going to hit escape then, or the check mark. And it kind of screwed up my other views. I'm going to hit, that should be fixed automatically though. Let me hit save. No, let's do this. Yeah, up top, you have a little stoplight, red and green stoplight icon. That's the rebuild or kind of like refresh. If you click on that, everything will refresh if it got screwed up. All right, now we need to put on some dimensions. Before we get on dimensions, let's save this. Click on a little save icon or Control S. It's saying the following models references this documents have been modified. They will save when the document is saved. That's fine. Just hit save all. It automatically gives it the name the part was called, sheet metal. Notice it's a SolidWorks drawing file. Putting it in my Lab 13 folder still. So hit save. I'm going to click and drag this view down a little bit to give myself a little more space here. I want to space this stuff out now that we have more room. All right, one thing we want to do is draw back in our center lines so we can use them for our dimensions. Click on the annotation tab and click on the center mark icon. And over here on the left, we have 3 options. Click on the third option that has round, it looks like a circle. It's just circular center marks. Manual insert options, the third one, circular. And what you're gonna do, and this is, you gotta do this very precisely. You have to click on this circle, the top one first. So click, and then click on the 2 on the bottom. Click on this one here, click. And then when you click on this one here, it actually curves them so that they point towards this one here. Okay, again, that was this rounded option here. And hit OK. And then what you can do is you can click on the lines, click on this little endpoint and drag it. Leave a little bit of a gap. It's always a good idea to have a gap so it doesn't touch. Do that for each one. Click on this one, grab a little endpoint, drag it up. So you got like a little space here. And then I'm going to be a perfectionist and make them roughly the same distance. At least when you're zoomed out, they look like they're the same distance. All right, put in the dimensions. Let's see here. Let's turn on, go to annotation tab. Turn on smart dimensions. And we have a smart dimension for this thickness here. Click on the top, click on there, drag it out to the side, and place it down. Why does that say? Oh, mine says MMGS. I need to change that. Make sure your settings here are IPS, inches, pounds, seconds. So in the bottom right corner of your screen, IPS. Now, if you notice on the handout, it says 0.125. This is 0.13. It's rounding. So I want to click on the dimension so it's blue. That means it's highlighted. And over here on the left, change the 0.12 and make it 0.123. That's 3 decimal places, unit precision. And there you can see it is actually 0.125. Okay, it doesn't matter if your dimensions look like this or if they go up like this. There is a way to change that. It's under the settings options icon. But we're not going to worry about it. Well, let's worry about it. Click on options, just so you can see document properties. And where it says ANSI, we can change that to iOS and hit OK. See if it changes. No. Guess that didn't work. I actually thought ANSI was the correct one. Not really sure why it's not. Oh. Well, that was a weird glitch. Go back up to your options. Click on document properties. I just turned on ANSI again. And when I hit OK, it updated to be correct. Maybe because I started in MMGS by mistake. I bet that's why. Again, it's not really important, but at least now it's consistent. All right, let's do this 0.375 because that's a 3 decimal place dimension also. I have to turn my smart dimensions back on. I'm going to click on the edge of the circle, click on the edge of my heart, and I'm going to place it right there in between. While it's still blue and selected, over here on the left, make it 0.123 decimal places again. Okay, again, you can only change it if you have it selected, meaning you clicked on it and it's blue, then you can modify it. All right, let's click on this circle and put down the 0.25 diameter. While we're at it, let's do this circle and make that 0.2. Oh, now look, we got a problem here. When we put this down, it's showing the radius because, now how does it know the difference between a diameter and radius? If it's a full circle, it's going to give you a diameter. If it's less than a full circle, like an arc, it's going to default to the radius. But with this highlighted blue, so it's selected, I can actually right click and I can display it as a diameter. So you can actually display it either as a radius or a diameter. It's just taking a second for my computer to update. Okay, so again, that was right click on it while it's blue and display as diameter. And of course I could go back and display it as a radius if I wanted a radius. I don't, I won't display as diameter. All right, let's click on the edge of the circle, click on that line there and make our 0.35. And before I forget, let's do our 0.75 up top. Click on the edges, left and right edge, put it up here above the 0.375. Make sure you have space here. If you need to move this down, you can hit escape and drag this view up and down. Okay, make sure you have space. You should have plenty of space here. You gotta make it look professional, make it look nice. Now I turned off Smart Dimension, I'm gonna turn that back on. I'm gonna click on the edge of this circle again, and click on the bottom here, and put my dimension in the middle. You should always have your dimension kind of like in between the arrows in the middle, but don't put it down like this. This is really bad technique. Put it there, centerish. Okay, don't put it so it's like on top of this. Okay, again, make it look nice and professional. Make them line up. So this one lines up, these arrows line up like that. All right, we need the angle and we need the 0.99. Let's click on the two center lines we made here. Drag that down here between, below, so that they fit in between, where the dimension fits in between the lines. All right. This one's a little tricky. Click on the center of the circle, or actually just click on the edge of the circle. Click on the edge of the slot and make sure, put your dimension almost like right on top so you get the 0.99. Because if you're not careful, you want to have it 0.99. If you're not careful, it will change to vertical 0.98. Well, 0.98 is not 0.99. So again, you have to click on these two circles and keep it really close, like right on top of it. Once you put it down, then you can drag it out. Okay, what we should do, go back to my, is move these dimensions out farther so we can fit this 0.99 in here. Okay, this is being a little picky, but let's do it. We're gonna drag these out so that we have more space for our 0.99. Now it doesn't matter, what the heck did I click on? And here the 0.99 is like inside of the A drop down arrow. Mine is the outside, I'm not gonna be that picky. All right, so let's count. We should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 dimensions on the front view. I have 9. You should also have 9. If you have 10, you have 1 too many. If you have 8, you don't have enough. You want to have the same dimensions in the same location. Okay, there's also 4 dimensions on this section AA view. So let's go down to it. Turn on Smart Dimension. Let's click on this line here. Click on the circle, the edge of the circle. Let's actually click on the edge of the big one. Doesn't matter. That's 0.88 because I actually clicked on the wrong thing. So I could either delete that and click on this part, that line there, and the arc gives me 1.99. Let's click on this arc and put down our radius of 0.2 and the circle with our diameter 0.19. Now we want to draw a center mark through here, and that will help us do this dimension down here. So let's click on the center mark icon. So I'm on my annotation tab. I clicked on the center mark icon here. And over here in my options, I need to go back to the first one where it says single center mark. And sometimes when you put your dimensions in here, it automatically places the center mark, but mine didn't. So I'm going to click on the big arc. It gives me that nice plus. Okay, again, that was center mark. Click on the first option, single center mark, and click on the big arc so you get the big plus. And hit the OK check mark to finish that. And we should also have a center line going down the center of this hole. Okay, this hole is actually part of this hole that we're seeing, this kind of bottom curve part. Do that annotation tab again. We have a center line option. Click on center line and click on the two vertical lines, one on the left, one on the right, and it puts it right in between. And then you can hit the OK check mark to finish the center line command. Okay, this dimension, this center line will help us with this 0.62 dimension. So let's turn on Smart Dimensions. Click on the center line, click on the line, the edge of the circle, and we can drop down 0.66 or 0.62. Now, a couple things we could do in here. We could actually move our dimensions here, maybe to get some more space, or what I would do is just hit escape and move the section AA title. Okay, because again, we want it spaced out. I'm going to bring this down a little bit, bring this down. So there's our 4 dimensions. Notice that they don't cross over each other. They're nicely spaced, even. My section AA, I dragged it down to make more space. Okay, you want everything to look nice and professional. Okay, these two are kind of like the default. Make sure this one's shaded in with edges. I got our name, got our drawing number. Let's save it. I'm gonna click on the little save icon to save the drawing file, and then we need the save as to save it as a PDF. Let's go to File, Save As, change our type to Save As type, make it the PDF. I'm still in my Lab 13 folder, so I know where it's going. Hit Save, and it will save the PDF version. Okay, I'll let you ask questions here in a little bit. We're only going to do this drawing today because the idea is that you have the rest of the class time to work on your final semester project.